What's going on, everyone? In this video, I want to look over a Bngo stock or bionano genomics and some recent news that just dropped today. So let's take a quick look. And I'll leave it down below for you, but here it is. And this was just dropped today in a peer-reviewed study from Augusta University on the utility of combining OGM and a 523 gene NGS panel for the standard evaluation of myeloid cancers. Current medical society guidelines recommend the use of KT or karyotyping, fluorescence in situ hybridization or FISH, and sequencing to perform cytogenetic and molecular analysis of patients. The study describes myeloid cancers as posing a significant challenge to manage, with approximately 50% of cases displaying cryptogenetically normal genomes, which can confound traditional analysis approaches. And skipping forward a little bit, a pre-commercial version of Bionano's new NX Clinical software enabled analysis of OGM and NGS together, which provides an integrated picture of genomic variation. And we found, like usual, OGM identified all structural variants detected by KT and FISH with 100% concordance, meaning they found the same data. However, in 4 out of 7 cases, OGM found clinically relevant structural variants in cases that were classified previously as normal by KT and FISH, meaning they found things that weren't found otherwise in traditional standards of care. You'll see here that the 523 gene panel identified sequence variants of potentially clinical relevance, not identified by the 54 gene panel in 6 out of 30 cases, whereas OGM combined with the 523 gene panel found 12 out of 30 cases together. And as said by the CEO of Bionano, this peer-reviewed publication outlines the potential utility of combining OGM with sequencing panels to evaluate myeloid cancer. I believe this research study shows that OGM can perform significantly better than karyotyping and FISH, which can result in meaningful revisions to various risk classifications and disease stratifications which are known to affect outcomes. And this OGM and sequencing data were analyzed with the upcoming version of their NX Clinical Analysis software, which is commercially available as VIA Analysis software. VIA Analysis software will offer a powerful new workflow in cytogenomics and molecular pathology, especially for cancer. Just like we've seen with a lot of these peer-reviewed studies, OGM finds more things that would otherwise be looked over by typical methods like karyotyping and FISH. Next up, let's take a look at the chart. And the chart certainly looks ugly. We're still stuck under this descending resistance that we've been in since 2021. I do think we're going to see a reaction really soon, either finding it as resistance once more or breaking out of it here towards the end of June. Now, one thing you'll notice in this long downtrend is we did have some sideways action here throughout May, and then we saw an uptrend after that, after what looked like an accumulation phase. That uptrend was short-lived, and we found resistance on that descending resistance line that I just mentioned. One thing we're seeing again is throughout April, May, and June, we're basically trading sideways. And if you wanted to just play it on some short-term moves, you could set a stop loss right at about 60 cents and see if we find a breakout here. If we break 60 cents, we're likely to move lower. That's why I said set a stop loss at 60 cents. One thing Bngo is expecting is a record revenue once they report this quarter. However, they're still not profitable. And with interest rates still high, I wouldn't be surprised to see this pull even more. Now, since this company is unprofitable, it is very important to look at their balance sheet and see how much time we have before more likely dilution. But as a side note, we are getting towards the end of the rate hikes, if not already done. And towards the end of this year, we will be seeing rate cuts, in my opinion. And we may see an anticipatory run-up ahead of those cuts. And these small caps have all been facing a lot of pain, as dilution is the most likely outcome because of these high rates. And if these small caps acquire debt, they're going to be paying very high interest rates just for that debt. And this is partly why Wall Street has been so hands-off with these unprofitable companies, because they know that dilution is a possible outcome here. Now, seeing that this company is unprofitable, I think it's very important we look at how much cash they actually have. And this is as of their last earnings, so things have likely changed by now. But our last update, they were sitting at about 95 million in cash and about 11 million in debt, meaning they do have a few quarters before they're either likely to dilute or to pull out some debt. And I do expect a few quarters from now, interest rates will be lower. So right now for Bngo, as well as a lot of small caps, we're really getting down to the nitty gritty. We have a couple of quarters to deal with these high interest rates before we may see rate cuts. At least a few quarters from now. So these companies need to survive until then, and it's certainly a relatively high-risk company, being that they only have a few quarters of run rate with cash that they have. I believe small caps have seen most of their pain, and remember, the market is forward-looking. Once we start getting these rate cuts, I bet Wall Street will already be piling into these small caps, knowing what's next. But I do personally believe we have a few quarters ahead of us of some pain until we start seeing those rate cuts. But let me know what you think down below. Does Bngo have enough cash to get through the next couple quarters? At this point, I believe it's still all about getting their product out there, getting that revenue to grow, getting their quarterly expenses down, and eventually getting to profitability. However, profitability is still potentially years away. But I'm going to stick around with this company because I do believe they have a very innovative product, and we will continue to see revenue ramp up. I remember not long ago when they were only pulling $3-4 million, and soon they'll be consistently pulling in 10 million and more per quarter. However, we just got to get through the next couple of quarters, get around to those rate cuts, because once we get to that point, we'll know that there aren't rate increases ahead of us, but there are rate cuts, which is a positive catalyst for small caps. But thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about Bngo down below, and I'll see you later.